တော်လှန်ပြည်သူများအားလုံးပဲမင်္ဂလာပါ
Good evening to the other people supporting the revolution. We'd like to welcome you from the 95th session of the People's Go Way of Thought Process talk show. That the military junta has been losing in all the arenas across the country. Now they are trying to rally the militia groups, and especially in Bago region, they have been collecting the names of the people to join the militia group and asking for money. So the people are very highly concerned in the area. In addition, that after Myanmar, the leader of the military junta, had met with the political parties, he also had expressly encouraged people to join the militia groups. These militias supporting the military, what will be their steps, and that if people are being forced recruited into the militia groups, what will happen to them, and that how can that have an impact on the revolution and as well as on the revolutionary forces? How can we also how can we that and also prevent and also counter the movement of the military junta and their steps to form the militia groups? This is what we'll be discussing in today's discussion. To discuss these topics, we have invited Mamite, a member of the Central Steering Committee of the Mingalar TaungNyunt Strike Committee, Goye from Bagodai Pakafa, Information and Communication, and Ku Winaisu, who is a CDM captain. And my name is Kaung from the People's Go team, and I will be the moderator for this session. I would like to welcome the people who are listening to us to share your comments and ask your questions to our speakers. Before we start, I would like to first introduce our speakers. So I would like to ask our speakers to introduce themselves. First, I would like to invite Mamite to introduce herself. Siama, please introduce yourself. I hope you can hear me. Yes, we can hear you clearly. Can you briefly introduce about yourself? Yes, my name is Mite, and I am from Jianggo. I'm from the member of the Central Steering Committee of the General Strike Committee of Mingalar Township based in Jianggo. That when the military coup happened in 2021, we have started the strike movement in our township, and from there, in February, we started we decided that we need to have a township level strike committee, so all the people from our township got together to form a general strike committee, and I have participated in the movement ever since. And then now we also are part of the GSC. We collaborated and participate, and then we are contributing to the anti-military junta movement as well. So within the 3 years of a revolution against the military junta, our general strike committee of the Mingalar Township and as part of the GSC, we have been collaborating in the movement against the military dictatorship. Thank you for the introduction. Next, I would like to invite another next speaker, who is Go Wei Yan. Go Yan. I would like to Go Yan. Can you introduce yourself? Yes. Good evening to all of you. I would like to extend my greetings to the people who are listening and watching this talk show on the live stream. My name is Guyen. I'm in charge of information and communication in the Pakapa Bago region. Thank you, Guyen, for the introduction. That I would like to invite next speaker, who is a CDM Captain Winaisu. Winaisu, please introduce yourself. Yes. That I am from the eastern part of the Shan state, and when I joined the CDM movement, I was in the eastern banks of Thwel, where there are many militia groups, and that I'm a captain. When I joined the CDM movement, I wholly believe in the fact that we must eradicate dictatorship from Myanmar. Thank you to all the speakers for the introduction. That next, I would like to go into our discussion. So first, I would like to invite Go Wei Yan. Go Wei Yan, good evening once again. Good evening to you too. So so now the military is trying to recruit the militia because they want to strengthen their numbers, and that the way how is the situation of them recruiting in Bago region? What do you think can happen in the near future? Can you share your analysis, please? Can you hear us, Goya? Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me now? We can hear you now. Please share your analysis on the situation of military force recruitment of militia in Bago region. Before you ask the question, before I answer the question, I want to say something first. These events, what is happening, they are really happening in our area. I'm not making things up. This is a reality of in Bago region, and they are happening because because of it also is partly related to corruption as well as on the problems inside their military. To respond to the question, I would say the military has been getting weaker. So as they are getting weaker, the military, well, that what the military try to do is that they call it the militia. They call it they also say it as they have always used the expression people's militia group as in the history, but they say that they call it the community defensive force, they call it. And there in some areas they still use they still use the term that militia group. And then they are trying to through this, they are trying to recruit, they are trying to make people join that they are the forces they are forming. If we talk about Bago region, that the Bago region is geographically can be divided into two parts. We can call it as eastern part of the Bago region and western part of the Bago region. That eastern part of the Bago region is the area which is touching borders, touching borders with the KNU control areas. There, according to the news that we have received, intelligence that we have received, they are making the same efforts of recruiting that as well. The western part of the Bago region, which has no direct contact with the ERO areas in those villages and community, they are asking the local authorities to bring the issue together, and that is usually either the village administrator or the ward administrators, like the house 10, the head of 10 households or head of 100 household, or the former existing leaders or the Pisoti, which are those groups, militia groups that the military has formed, and through them they are trying to force recruit people. In some of the towns and some of the villages, that if they cannot provide such way of recruitment, if they cannot provide people, if they cannot provide bodies, they will cast 2 million or 3 million chats according to the data and the information we have received and the information from the ground, that they are asking for money as well. So this is what we can share in this context. What do you think could happen in the future? Can you elaborate? What do you think will happen in the future? Well, in the future, I think we have to be very careful, and we have to keep a careful eye on this situation, how this situation will develop. This is my immediate analysis, because this kind of situation, we must to keep an eye on it. We cannot just ignore it, or we cannot just let things happen so that just will fall where they may. We have to keep an eye on it on a daily basis. We need to know, are they taking other steps up? Are they moving forward? We really need to keep an so this is what we need to do. Thank you for sharing, and so you have shared clearly about what is happening in the Bago region. Thank you for making the point. And I think also in the recent days, we are hearing more and more that military is extorting them. If you cannot find the bodies, they are forcing people. They are forcing people to join the militia groups. They are forming. If not, they are also forcing people to pay. So thank you for sharing the message as a Pakapa. Thank you, and that's very comprehensive, and also also give us so that will also give an awareness to the people so that we can get be more careful about it as well. So next, I would like to invite Siama Mamete.
ဟုတ်ကဲ့မင်္ဂလာပါရှင်
Okay, daကျွန်တော်မေးချင်တာကတော့
Uh,
ဒီ
So, Siama Mamete, I would like to ask you a question that, when Myanmar met with the political parties, he talked about that, he talked about the election. He also talked about that needing to form that the militia groups as well. So what do you think will happen? What are the consequences of such a discourse from Myanmar?
ဟုတ်ကဲ့ခုနကကိုမေးသွားတာပေါ့နော်
Yes, to respond to your question, that the fascist military leader Miao Lai, and then the political parties that are following his orders blindly. They had a meeting on the 6th of January, and then what they did was, like you have said, they talked about the election. And one thing interesting thing is they also talk about the forming that he also talked about establishing a militia strategy, and that he also discussed that with in this meeting with the political parties. What I noticed from that is that in 2022, probably around April, one of the spokesperson for the military hunters, or said that he said that they has always been saying in press conference that we need to form militia groups. We need to form militia group. He has been consistently saying that for the past years. So what we need to know is that arming the people, forming the militia groups, those who are pushing for it, they have started it as well. That they are also the same people. They are the political parties which follow the military. They are also the military lobbyists who have encouraged and supported the coup, as well as who have been consistently reclaiming for it as well. Right now, what the military is doing is that after this, and then we are that because with the momentum of the revolutionary war, that with the operation 1027, after 3 years of revolution, then we have also seen that so I think this also means that the military also is getting weaker, definitely, with those where the town they have to withdraw from towns or city. They have to withdraw from military bases as well. So that also they are also taking heavy losses as well. With the heavy losses and injuries, they need to replenish their forces, and for that reason, the Myanmar is trying to build this kind of people community based militia groups, and the public, they call it the public militia system strategy to cover that evidence. So what can happen? What can they try to do after the 2022 in the areas where there is a very strong revolutionary movement? They are trying to form militia groups. They are also providing them. They are also equipping those there's militia groups with weapons as well. In Bago, in Sakai, and they have like Mabata. You also have the Buddhist extreme nationalists, as well as on the Pisoti. They've been trained in the weapons training and that small arms of Mutani, and they are even sent to the front line to fight as well. And this way, in this way, they are threatening and endangering and that lives and the properties of the civilian population. This we are seeing in an increasing manner since the coup, and even more in 2022. Even in the previous military dictatorships, people of Myanmar are very well aware of the atrocities and inhumaneness of the military hunters. So people do not want to join the military. A younger generation in particular do not want to join the military. So therefore the military, they had not been successful in recruitment. They had not been able to recruit more people. For the reason, the military have always the fascist military have always have to rely on the criminals, that those are the robbers or the thieves or those who are committing crimes, and they will be pushed to join them. And they will also have that undercover soldiers and the informants who will trick their people to say, oh, you can get so much salary, you'll be able to support the family. They would in fact provide a lot of misleading information and then push them. They were even what they were doing, they were also the force recruit them as porters, or that they have exercised that kind of forced recruitment along the history. So with the revolution gaining gaining momentum and strength, it's even harder for the military. So in their area, the areas they control, they have in control. They are using forced recruitment to fill their numbers. As other speaker has said, in Bago area, for example, they call it the community-based people's militia group, and they will use that village and ward administrator to, so that every household must produce 1 or 2 soldiers. If they can't, they have to pay a fine, and that they are using it very obvious way of forced recruitment as well. I think they might also be turning into wars techniques in order to recruit more people as well, because the Sami, you can, in some of the area, they are even they even have to be afraid, and they have to run to their area so that they be able to escape from being from forced recruitment. Now we are at the highest point of this of the revolution. I think the military, the fighting power, the fighting forces are being undermined on a very daily basis. We are reading this in the news. They are losing their manpower to the battles, and that's why they are trying to use the recruitment of the people's militia groups to fill their ranks and file, and that in some of the area they cannot even secure them, so they do not even control them. This is happening in different parts as well. So that in those, I think later on, and that I think will be seeing more police, and that the military working together, or people militia working together. That as well. They might be doing that as well. That in addition to that, that now the forming people's militia is very important for the military. It is they are using it as a way to have some breathing room. So they will be putting more pressure on the people so that they get forced recruit. So people will have to face even more hardships and difficulties because of this forced recruitment. I think it is important for the other people and the revolutionary forces must be aware about it, must be more alert about this, and take preventive measures to be able to protect themselves from such steps. Because the military wants to implement people's militia broadly. If they do that, then that means that will lead to negative consequences on the military offensive of the revolutionary forces. They can also restrict their military operations as well. So in the future as well, that militias can be working together with the soldiers to take security. For example, like when the generals come and visit their grounds and inspections, that security will be provided by the militia, and they can also even make more violent and oppression against the civilian. And they will even exercise more arbitrary arrests and so like extrajudicial killing and oppression, and they will use this militia to be able to increase the momentum of their atrocities, and that in reality, those who are doing that, they are so that they are what they are doing is they are pushing people into the war, and then they would push those people's militia group into fight rightly against the civilian revolutionary fighters. Actually, they call them the people militias, and they call them their militias, but they are people, they are the citizens as well, and they are pushing us to confront other revolutionary fighters, and they are in a way they are using those people as hostages, and they are in a way just harming people more and more. So it is important that and that and that I think so this is the so it is this is a military we are trying to replenish our numbers. I think it is important for people because they can use it as a way to undermine the people, disrupt the population. So we have to be very careful and make necessary preparations to respond to it. That's how I see it. Thank you.
ဟုတ်ကဲ့ပါခင်ဗျာဒါအခုလိုမျိုးပြည့်စုံလေးဒါဆွေးနွေးသုံးသပ်ပေးကြတဲ့ဒါကျေးဇူး
Thank you very much for your comprehensive response. Indeed, the new recruitment by the military it's rather intensive these days.
ဒီမျိုးဆက်တဲ့ထဲကိုအတင်းအာဏာမတွတ်တွင်းတဲ့ပုံစံမျိုးရှိတယ်လို့
And it is the habits of this military that they recruit all the criminals to be their soldiers in the past. And in this revolutionary time, since the military enrollment by the public, it's almost not happening at all. So the military it's of course having the forced recruitment these days. Thank you very much for your analysis, and I am sure that it is very important that the public should aware of the situation and be careful with all this forced recruitment so the public can behave wisely not to be recruited by the military. And now I would like to invite the CDM captain, Go Win9. So, what is how the recruitment can be done by the military for the pro-military militia, and what is the objective? What will happen? What can be the consequences? Can you please share your thought? Thank you. Again, this is the revolution. This revolution is not just about the war. This revolution is to eliminate the military dictatorship. So this is a very clear direction of a people in this revolution. But the military always say that they wage war against all these insurgencies. But then again, um, they have many forms of forces under them as well. They have border guards. They have uh, uh, non-integrated border guards as well. And in the past, there were ethnic armed organizations. Some of the ethnic armed organization integrated into the military with the name border guards, or the military managed militia. There are also ethnic armed organizations that do not integrate themselves into the military as well. So there are also non-integrated militia as well. So when I was in the army, when I was in the military, I had to work together with the non-integrated militia, which is the ethnic armed organizations. And now we have this militias in Bago area as well. And what they what the military would call them is that this is the pro military militia or military supported militia. So these kind of militias are in Bago area. Well, the thing is that the role of the pro-military militia is to collect intelligence for the military, and the local militia supporting the military knows the local situation, speak the language of the local people as well, and they know the temperature of the people on the ground. So basically, the militias are useful for the militaries as well. Again, the in this particular dynamic, uh, by the final quarter of the 2023, the huge changes happened in the revolution, saying that the revolutionary forces are starting to have the upper arms in this revolution. So what happened is that the military is in need of the strength of the militia more than before. So that's why they try to have more militia forces these days, I'm sure. Thank you. Well, I have a follow-up question. Why do they need the? I mean, what do they need from the militias, and what would be the consequences of having the growing number of militias in the future? Thank you. Well, again, I touched a bit about it. The militias play a very important role in providing local intelligence to the military as well. And there are also weaponized militia on the grounds as well for various reasons, for obvious reason, for the military to use them for their military assault, I'm sure. And there are also non-weaponized militia as well on the ground. Basically, the purpose of having militia by the military is to gather military intelligence. Again, they are the quasi-military on the ground. They are quasi soldiers on the ground as well. Usually, they may be less than 100 of them in a particular local area as well. Well, what they will do is that they will gather the ins and outs of the people in a specific local areas as well, and they will gather information about the people defense forces as well, and then the militia will collect the public mood and public temperature towards the militaries as well. Again, based on the trustworthiness of the particular militia on the ground, the military may arm them or may not arm them. Anyway, this is what's happening on the ground. I have another question. Can militia be reliable for the military? Well, it's an obvious answer to be responded. The military uh, uh, is losing the soldiers um, soldiers' fate these days. Although the military is using a single command, but there are more and more soldiers, officials that they do not trust the military anymore these days as well. And what happened is that there are uh, many news recently that there are hundreds of soldiers died in the battlefield just to defend the interest of men online. So the soldiers are losing faith on this institution, and then one of the border guard from Kayin is now leaving the military, saying that they will not be loyal to the military anymore, but they will just protect the people that they have to protect. So this is what's going on as the recent dynamic. Again, the community are facing the community militia supporting the military are now having their internal pressures among from their members as well. So basically, I would say that, in my opinion, militia, in general term, cannot be seen as the reliable sources for the military. Thank you. Thank you very much for the first round of panel discussion. Before we proceed with the second round of discussion, I would like to go through some of the comments that we receive from our live stream. Someone says that the militia recruitment by the military, it's the fact happening on the ground. So basically, the military is actually implementing the establishment of the militia on the ground. So that is read from a comment as well. And I also am reading another comment which says, if somebody is falsely recruited by the military for the pro militia you can still be useful by providing internal intelligence of the militia and of the military to the revolutionary forces. I would like to read another comment. Please make sure that do not shoot wrongly to the to the members of the revolutionary forces, because militia can pretend that they are part the um, of the People Defense Forces. Now let me proceed to the second round of the discussion. I would like to invite Go in again. Mingalar, to you again. I have a question for you. Min Online military is recruiting the militia for them as well. What can be preventative measure for the force recruitment of the militia? I have thank you for the question. I would like to say 2 points. First, for the revolutionary forces. Revolutionary forces need to be with people on the ground, need to engage with the people on the ground, and the revolutionary forces should be actively on the ground so that they will know what it is going on within the community and in the local area. That is my first point. I have a second point as well. As one of the CDM captain mentioned just recently, what we can say is that the militia cannot trust the military, and the military in return do not trust the militia. So according to some of the estimation, the military trusts only 30% of their trust level towards the uniformed militia. There are also non-uniformed militia as well, and the military do not trust the non-uniformed militia at all. So, in this kind of dynamic, the People Defense Forces, in which I would like to say that there are many People Defense Forces, the PDF, they are not the Revolutionary Army. You are not an army, but you are there just to establish, set up yourself in your specific local area to protect the local people. So basically, the role of the PDF is to protect only a specific local area where they established. Well, of course, there are some political activities of the PDF, but let me be very basic. Let me be very much realistic in terms of the role of the People Defense Forces. The People Defense Forces are the armed organization to protect the people of a local area where they base, if this is their primary objective of the People Defense Forces, then they need to aware of the dynamic of the pro-military militia happening on the ground as well. So basically, in a broader perspective, if the revolutionary forces can equip the people defense forces effectively and efficiently, then the potential recruitment of a local people by the military can be prevented, in my opinion. The people on the ground really want to oppose the dictatorship. They hate the military. In Bago, which I can say out of my experience, our Bago people don't like the military at all. We are very explicit about ourselves that we do not want to see this army anymore. This is the mentality of the people there. It's just a matter of mobilize the people on the ground. It's just a matter of equipping the people on the ground so that the people can be protected on their own as well. So it is very important that there is a need to have the mobilizing strategy by the revolutionary forces on the local people so that the local people will not end up being recruited by the military. So basically, according to my personal opinion, if the local people can be equipped by the revolutionary forces, then it is the preventative measure for the forced recruitment by the military. Thank you. Well, I have another question for you. What can we be doing in order to mitigate unnecessary friction, tension, crisis between the people defend or between the revolutionary forces and the pro-military militia? Thank you. Well, in order to answer this question, I don't think that the leader of the revolutionary forces are not clever. They are clever. They know lots of things in terms of the dynamic of the revolution. And the revolutionary forces leader share the information of what's going on. So I don't have much concern regarding the dynamic between the people and the revolutionary forces leader. And thus, I don't think that I will not be that much worried to have some sort of community friction or social friction between or among the revolutionary forces and pro military militia, as long as clear information is spread through by the revolutionary forces in the local area as well. Thank you. And I also would like to ask you another particular question from one of the audience asking if this forced recruitment is by the pro junta military group or directly by the army. Well, it's depend on the which area that you're talking about. In some of the area, there are pro junta military groups that are so loyal to the military, then they will do the forced recruitment, or otherwise the military would do the direct recruitment in specific area as well. So basically, two um, ways of recruitment, it's happening on the ground. So say, for example, some of the village head, village administrator would participate in forced recruitment for the military and in some specific area. In other area, the military will do the direct force recruitment as well. Indeed. Now, I would like to invite Mame there. Currently, the military is forming the militia for themselves. What kind of information that public need to know about it widely and comprehensively? Thank you. Well, the military is talking about the compulsory military service act. They are talking about it as well. A draft was made back in 2015 or 2010 by Thein administration. But then again, after the coup, they are talking about 2 years compulsory military service for everyone in the country, and in the emergency situation, there might be 5 years of the compulsory military service. Well, they are talking about all of this. Well, basically, if this kind of law will be made, it will be very difficult for Myanmar people to avoid not to be in the military. So, as our discussion clearly indicate us that the military is actually recruiting the civilian to be the militia, then it seems that it is not a joke. So people really need to know what's going on, and people really need to be guided and instructed how to respond the forced recruitment by the military. The people of Myanmar are very much dutiful as the citizen of this country in opposing the military since the coup. So I'm sure in this forced recruitment by the military, the uh, people of Myanmar will go against this forced recruitment, I'm sure. And I'm sure that no one want to be soldier of this military, the oppressive one, and the legally manipulated institution. No one want to be under it. So basically, the revolutionary forces, the revolutionary leader, the revolutionary organization should explicitly guide, instruct the people of Myanmar what to do if they face the problem of forced recruitment, and if the people would be part of the militia, and if they are forced to serve inside the militia, what they should do. So all of these information needs to be developed. All this strategy needs to be developed. The communication channels, the operational channels, and operational procedures are everything to be developed in preparation to this issue. And one of the comment uh, uh, ask us what to do with the forced recruitment. Well, the public, the people of Myanmar,
ပြည်သူတွေအနေနဲ့ကကိုယ့်ရဲ့သဘော
really need to know that the forced recruitment by the military is actually happening. Only then they will know how to respond as well. So basically, people need to know about the international norms, standards in terms of the non-discretionary military assignment. So public awareness and public information regarding what to do if they face this forced recruitment by the military. And then the um, members of a family, the community, the society need to learn about the action response that they could take if they have this underage recruitment or forced recruitment by the military to be the soldiers as well. So UNICEF, UN agencies might have the mechanism. So all of these are to be utilized, but people need to know all of these options, accessibilities. Only then public will be able to act. So I think that it is important that the revolutionary forces, revolutionary organization need to tell all this information to the public and even train them. And I'm sure the public in this revolution are very much engaged with the political dynamic and revolutionary dynamic. Each and every public might have some sort of contact with the revolutionary forces as well. Again, it is very important that the public are to be told, guided, instructed in terms of the proper process and procedures in terms of what to do when they themselves face this kind of problem, and if the people around them face this kind of problem as well. The role of media is very important to inform to the people about all of this. Again, this is not only about the local media information, but it is also important that the international news media would play a role to tell to the people of Myanmar and to tell to the international community that it is the one of the biggest threats that the Myanmar people are facing these days as well. And through the social media infographic, the visualization and information, infograph, all of these can be very useful to inform to the public about this forced recruitment by the military as well. People to people support is rather important as well in this situation. If one is force forcibly recruited, then they need to get access to the support network to get some help to uh, be out of this situation. It can be about information of how to leave the militia group. It can be about to get access to the safe place. It can be about the justice system as well. So basically, people network is rather important in order to help each other. Because the thing is that once one is uh, forcibly recruited, it is the problem of the people around them, and it is a problem of the whole community and of the whole society. So it is the community engagement and effort that need to act up on this forced recruitment. Thank you. Well, thank you very much that you point out about the community network in order to respond the support and action and initiative for this forced recruitment by the military. You talked about the role of the social media that can play quite a lot for the people to be informed as well. And it can also be the case that one is recruited without one consent, then in that case, there is a need to have a mechanism for one to have help. So all of these are to be established by the community among Myanmar people as well. So again, it is to be suggested, recommended that all the revolutionary organization, all the responsible people of the revolution should think and come up with the solution for this issue. Thank you. Now I would like to invite the CDM Captain Go Winang again. I have a question for you. What should be caution for the revolutionary forces with regards to this forced recruitment of the military for the militia? Well, what I would like to say is that the revolutionary forces needs to know the local dynamic in terms of what's going on, and the revolutionary forces needs to tell to the world that about the incidents of the forced recruitment by the military. And there are also incidents that the pro-military militia left the military, losing faith of the military and joining their hands with the revolutionary forces. We need this kind of more incidents indeed. There are community militia, um, some of the soldiers pretend that these themselves are the community militia in order to attack the people defense forces. So the revolutionary forces, the people defense forces, needs to be on top of the local intelligence. They have to be cautious about the ins and outs and whereabouts of the local people on the ground. Only then the movement of the military, pro-military militia will be stricter and stricter, in my opinion. Thank you. I also have another question for you. What can we prepare as a measure for the force recruited militia to be the supporter of the revolution? Thank you. I talked about the community militia. There are community militias, and in this revolution, it is very important that the community militia turned themselves into the revolutionary, pro-revolutionary militia, leaving the military. So in order to have this kind of dynamic, there is a need to have a specific strategy for them. Only then the military will become weaker and weaker. And we know for sure that the military is not in its good shape. They lose lots of control area. They lost a lot of their military camp, and their capacity it's decreasing days by days. So the military it's very much serious, and they intensify the forced recruitment on the local area. So role of the revolutionary forces It's to engage more with the people on the ground, telling what's going on, telling them what's going on, communicate the people on the ground effectively and efficiently. So we learn lesson in various revolution across the world that communication play a vital role to have the coordinated, synchronized action among revolutionary forces. So through this kind of measures and strategy, the revolutionary forces can play a role to mobilize, to persuade the pro-military militia to be the revolutionary supporters. Thank you. Now, I would like to ask you another question. This kind of recruitment happened even before the coup d'etat, or that happened only, or if this is a kind of a momentum or dynamic that happened only after the coup d'etat? Thank you. Well, I hope that you can hear me. I'm sorry, I lost you a bit, but I am back. Can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you now. I can hear you now. Well, I will repeat the question. And there was this Operation 1027. We are wondering if this kind of forced recruitment by the military happened even before this Operation 1027 or after the 1027. Thank you. Well, one of the down point of the military is the fact that they are not supported by the people. So whenever the soldier enter into a particular village, the villager says that enemies are here, enemies are here. Well, the people perception on them is at its worst. People do not support them at all. Why? People are explained by the revolutionary forces, by ethnic organization that the soldiers are there only to protect the interest of the military. So people do not like them at all. And they came up with this strategy that the soldier will not necessarily uh, 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 directly control the people, but they will use the community militia to work for them, to control the people. And even the Reverend Watawa play a community militia leader supporting the military, but they are not trained properly by the military to go to the battlefield. So we heard lots of information and news that many militias were killed in this revolution. They lost lots. I mean, lots of them lost their lives as well. The same as the soldiers who lost their lives indeed. So, the dynamic of the military is rather in difficulties. Even a soldier died in a military camp. The official of a particular camp, we call them IO. IO got so much headache when a soldier got killed in order to replace another soldier. It was such a headache. So, in order to replenish the dead soldier, the military tend to use the forcibly recruited militia. So, in this revolution, everyone is so clear about the cause of this revolution. This revolution is not to kill of our own brothers and sisters, but this revolution is here in order to end the dictatorship. So please participate in this revolution so people understand it very well indeed. Thank you. I would like to point another fact that since the Operation 1027, lots of soldiers died, and military capacity and number of soldiers got decreased drastically. So they have to forcibly recruit the militia from the community. This is happening as well. Min Aung Hlaing mentioned it very clearly that they will set up the military supporting militia as well. So I would like to ask you, CDM Captain Go Winang, so what if the militia will become a defectors after they got trained by the military? Then it would be a very risky and dangerous situation for the military. What military will prepare to not to have the defectors from their militia? Thank you. Well, attitude is everything in my opinion. So basically, the military will someone who they can trust based on their attitude, based on the pro-military attitude. After they brainwashed someone, they will the militia. I don't think that the military will have this much capacity and administration on the militia, because they have so much less people to manage all of these people indeed. So it is not very easy, in my opinion, that the military will have a very proper management on the militia. I think that the primary objective of the military to have militia is to get information of a local situation. And I think that they would use auxiliary forces of the military to send to the battlefield. To send someone to the battlefield, you have to give a gun. Giving a gun to a militia, I think it is not very easy decision for the military to do so. And we all know that a whole platoon, a whole battalion, a whole camp left the military, saying that we don't trust the military anymore, we want to stand together with the people. So non-trust issue is getting bigger and bigger among the military itself. So, rather than issuing guns, rather than providing guns, weapons to the militia, they will mobilize the soldiers among themselves, I guess. Say, for example, if there would be military pressure in Bago area, they will send existing troop from somewhere else deploy them into more urgent place as well. So that's why they don't have leave, they don't have break at all. So even the soldier, they have to give the gun back to the storeroom once they come back from the battlefield. So they trust no one, basically. And even soldiers are not allowed to carry guns all the time. So I think that it will be very, very, well, I think that it is very much hard to believe that all the community militia will be provided gun by the militaries. But then again, the community militia or the military supporting militia are used to report to the military who is coming in, who is going out, who is leaving the village, who is coming in the village. You know, all this kind of information are the only thing that the community militias are useful for. Thank you. And now I would like to give the floor to the audience. Kodesa, you raise a hand. Please take the floor. Thank you. Please take the floor. Thank you. I would like to mention one thing. We talked about the forced recruitment for the militia by the military. Again, we cannot automatically have this idea that the force recruited militia will leave the local militia. It will not be that easy to do so. We have to realize that the propaganda of the military is so strong. The military use religion, and the military use nationalities to brainwash someone to be a soldier. So in order to counteract the propaganda of the military, the revolutionary forces need to come up with communication strategy to inform to the public so that the public will not be brainwashed by the military. So in other words, the revolutionary side need to come up with our own propaganda over the people so that the people will not be convinced by the military to be their soldier or to be the member of the militia. Thank you. Well, talking about that, the NUG, MOD needs to play a role in this matter. The news media, the social media are the platform that the people can get access, the information, education, and awareness of this issue. So the coordinated approach, leadership approach for the public information campaign, public awareness campaign needs to be there as well. And of course, there are areas that the internet is cut off. So probably there is a need to have a drone technology to provide the flyers, the handouts, the leaflet to the people over there. And NUG, for example, should play a very active role and leading role as a government to deal with this kind of issue. And I'm sure that they are working on it, but I hope that once they are ready, they will launch this kind of measures to the public as well. Again, back to you. What would be your opinion in terms of recommendation that you would like to give to us in order to take care of this issue? Well, people hate the military, and whenever the people are forcibly recruited by the military, they will still hate military. They will run out of military. They will bring guns and everything with them. I don't think that this is that easy. I was in military once. They used a lot of expertise to have a propaganda campaign. They had expertise, they had resources to have this kind of propaganda campaign. They will try whatever they can to do this kind of propaganda. Again, in my opinion, revolutionary forces needs to play an active and leading role to counteract this kind of propaganda. According to my perception, the revolutionary sides respond almost nothing on this. But whereas the military is so much busy on this kind of recruitment. Thank you. Well, this is the very reason that we have this kind of talk. And I hope that from this talk, from this conversation that we are having now, thoughts would be triggered and consideration shall be made by those who have a role to play that as well. Again, we hope that the People's Goal weekly conversation program will lay an initial step in order to counteract the military propaganda regarding the forced recruitment for the militia to support them. Effective and efficient program, effective and efficient information, public communication, public campaign, public awareness program might be proceeded, I hope. So I also would like to urge everyone in this revolution not to dwell so much of our time and start acting on this. Thank you. Now I would like to give the floor to another one who raised a hand with the name Mounchit. Can you please take the floor? Thank you.
ဟုတ်ကဲ့ဆိုကျွန်တော်မဟုတ်မေးတရားလေးရှိလို့ပါဗျာဟုတ်ကဲ့ကျွန်တော်ဟုတ်ကျွန်တော်ဟုတ်ကဲ့ပါဗျာဟုတ်ကျွန်တော်တို့ဟို
I have a question, and then so I would like to know how we can contribute, how we can participate. That's what I would like to know. Well, to prevent, militia, and that how you can participate is that right now I think it is important to inform others, to your friends and their acquaintances, talk to them, and to engage them to form a network. And then when you have when that this is what is happening, happening in our area, what is happening in your area, and then share the information so that you'll be able to, that have a more aware about what is happening as well. As we have just shared, I think it is also important to, that when you have different institutions, when they do the awareness raising, share with others, share them with the network. That's how you can, contribute and participate in this, in the movement. So thank you for asking the question also. So I would also like to welcome others also to ask if they have more questions. Please let us know. So the floor is open if you have any questions. Okay. I'm not seeing any hands. So in that case, we are already at a certain time. Also, that so I would like to request our speakers to give that a few words as closing remarks. First, I would like to ask Siama Methe to give closing any words before we wrap up our today talk show. Yes, as I have discussed earlier, that it is important to share publicly, more broadly, to the people about what we can do about this as well. But if we look at the news, what is happening on the ground, we are seeing the military is doing a lot of systematic forced recruitment of the people militias. But however, our revolutionary organization, what should we do? How do we protect? How do we respond? We haven't really have much information from our revolutionary side on what can the people do to counter it. How do we prevent them as well? And that at the same time and also that through the media so it is important to raise the awareness of the media so public will have better understanding about what is happening as well. I think we need to educate more people, raise more awareness as well. In addition to that, I think it is important to have this kind of a talk about what is happening as well. And thank you also for inviting me. And I hope that there will be that we need to have a more discussion like this in the future as well. And at the same time that and the people are now getting more about it. That I think people need to know what they want, what they need to do as well, and and also that the people are also very concerned that some of those who are not participating in the revolution, they might be forced recruited into the militaries, the people militia group. So we need to have a channel, a way forward, so that people will be able to stay away from being such a forced recruitment as well. Thank you, Siama, for sharing the discussion. Next, I would like to invite Go Wei. Any remarks before we say goodbye? Go Wei, can you hear us? Any closing remarks? Go Wei? Korea might be having some some issues with internet. In that case, Korean is here. Oh yes, I'm here. Please go ahead. The most important thing. Can you hear me now? Yes, we can hear you now. Please go ahead. So the most important is to be able to have a good flow of information, and that I think to be able to keep information confidential is that's the lifeblood of the revolution. In the same way, I think it is also important. What we would like to request the people is that whenever you get information or that you get intelligence, and that talking to your relatives or talking to your family, or that and that that there are also townships which are close to each other, and that it is important that it is important for us to understand about the military is the different plays the military is making, different games the military is in. So I think it is important to understand that, and then and that the NUG and the revolution is need to understand about that. We have to be able to do more, because right now is is the time for us to be able to really to carry out the duties of the duties of the revolution, and we need to push more efforts. If we do that, and then I'm sure that in 2024, with more efforts into the revolution, that we'll be able to achieve a goal that all of us has been longing for, all of us are expecting for in 2024. Nguyen, thank you for joining us in today's thought process structure and sharing your analysis. Thank you very much indeed. So last but not the least, I would like to invite CDN Captain Wanaiso to share his remarks. For the people people need to be aware about that these militaries are forming the people militia groups on that community-based public defense group. And if you are being forced into joining that, then you can turn it back. You can. I hope that once you have been forced recruited, I hope that you'll be able to convert it into a real people's different force against the military. Thank you for participation that as well. So this is an important issue, because we need people. We need to find ways for the people to avoid being recruited into the military as well. And it is also important to find ways to engage with the others to find help as well. So I think it is also important for that that we also need a lot of instruction as well as the guidance from the various ministry, including the MOD, Ministry of Funds of the NUG. I hope that today's talk show is a first step by sharing the information to maybe to 10 people, maybe to 100 people, and it is a first step that we have taken. So it is important to continue discussing it, continue finding solution, so that we'll be able to prevent Myanmar and the fascist military from gaining numbers and forced recruiting the people of Myanmar into the militia groups. I just say thank you to all the speakers, as well as on our listeners and those who have raised questions and their comments. Thank you very much indeed, and would like to say goodbye tonight, here and now. See you next week.